Bruce sees all.
Hi everyone, how are you all doing today? My name is Bruce Swartz. I'm from Montreal, Quebec. I have a 14-inch telescope. I caught a lot of UFO footage with the telescope on the moon. And now the UAP term has changed to unidentified anomalous phenomena. Well, in general, the words follow what I am showing and seeing myself, which I'm going to show you today. And this is Aristarchus crater on top. There are structures on the surface that are both dark material. You can see them, the lines coming up out of the hole there. On the right where the arrow is, they're highly elevated off of the surface, hundreds if not thousands of feet. Almost impossible to see, but not impossible to see. Simple adjustment of the exposure. That's where we're going right now. See there? Right in that circle there. And that's where we are. A little bit closer, and you can see that there are thousands of objects on the surface that I'm not able to conclude what shape or form they have. We're not going to lie here. I'm not going to say I'm seeing mailboxes, right? But if it's not constructed, I can confirm to you that it's never been mentioned by NASA. Structures right there in front of you. Take the time to analyze this, guys. I'm sure you'll be interested in the finding. On the moon, they call this the straight wall. It is, so they say, a linear surface fault having a length of 68 miles or 110 kilometers. A typical width of between 1.2 to 1.9 miles wide, which is between 2 and 3 kilometers. It has a height, so they say, of ranging from 787 feet to about 984 feet, which is between 240 and 300 meters. Although it appears to be a vertical cliff, not in this image anyways, in the lunar surface, they say, it's actually the grade of the slope that's relatively shallow. But again, we'd have to get in closer to see that. The location of this wall, for you amateur astronomers like me, if you want to check it out, it's Rupes Recta. It's in the southern part of the Mare Nubium. For those just arriving to the channel, these are the UFOs that I'm getting on the surface of the moon. One of many different types of captures. So to give you an idea, I just talked to you about Rupes Recta. Look at the size of Rupes Recta, the length, look at the width of it. To give you an idea of how wide these objects are. We're talking about 1 mile to 3 miles wide, and that's just the light that's emanating from these objects, obviously clashing with the atmosphere. They clearly have a distinct shape, even though they are far away. Imagine how far away they are. So this one coming out, there's some going by. So they're interacting with the surface somehow, where there's lights that seem to be touching the surface. And if I'm not mistaken, this black line that we see this object coming from, if it's not a UFO coming from the inside of the moon, it could be one that was just on the surface. Either way, it's pretty exciting. But you get an idea of the size. The linear line, Rupes Recta, very, very small, 110 kilometers long, and it's just about the length of half of your finger. At the end of Sinus Iridum, they could be coming out of those tunnels where we see the structures. We see them lighting up, boom, all of a sudden. So obviously they would have to hide on the surface. And you see, no frame rate trouble here. We can see them disappearing and reappearing. They're not streaking, so it's very clear. It's zoomed up so you can literally see them. It's even shedding light on the surface. We see smokes and hazes as they lift up. Absolutely incredible. So again, with a 14-inch telescope, now we're seeing these objects that look like they're quite higher off of the surface. There's always the depth of field to try and understand. I'm speaking fast. I'm used to this. Try to understand how far away the moon is, and then try to understand the atmosphere disturbances between both objects. These objects are in the atmosphere, safe to say, of the moon. Maybe not on the surface, but then again, I mean, it would be scary to think that these objects are actually running along the surface, but I never even went there unless I actually saw them, like the one you saw at the beginning of the video, just like a couple of minutes before this, seeing them leave the interior or the surface. interior of the moon. Imagine. You know, it's not a myth. There's definitely somebody up there. We can see them traveling in groups. So now, a lot of people say, Bruce, but it can be debris. Yes, absolutely, it can be debris. It could be between Earth and the moon, and that we're seeing the moon there. But don't forget, we're not just seeing the moon. Look how close we are, to give you an idea. Like that line you're looking at represents probably about 50 kilometers. Okay, maybe even 30 kilometers, and we're like really pressed up, zoomed up close to try to see them. So you see, it's the same image I'm showing you, but I'm throwing you different exposures and different colors, and look how we can see them a lot better. And again, not distinguishing what the shape and form is. I've done it before, but not here. We're just seeing a blob going by, right? We'll leave it at that, but yet still very interesting. Again, with my Celestron 14-inch telescope, let me bring you to the surface of the moon. This is Mare Fecunditatis, one of my favorite areas. Do you see how there are two lines that bend down a cliff or structure, and there's like a bridge object going from right to left diagonally? You can see it going by between horizontal and diagonally. That's Mare Fecunditatis. Now I'm going to pause it here and just grab this image in one moment. Actually, we're going to keep looking as we go down just a little bit. Look at the different layers, levels of the surface. Very hard to see, especially this area. Two energy sources going down two lines to another structure. So we got a structure or object anomaly inside of the circle, many straight lines going to other illuminated sources. Even on the left, on the outskirts, a line going to another illuminated source. They're producing some type of energy there. Okay, for those of you that are not there yet, I respect that. For me, I'm there, and I'm telling you, they're producing something there. Look at it bending to the right there as it goes down. There's towers and a bridge going by. You can see lines and structures everywhere here, and this is Mare Fecunditatis. They're definitely creating some type of energy there. Just my belief. Well, lots of objects that you can see in the sky. This with the infrared camera. That looks like an asteroid that went by. Watch how fast this one crosses the sun, and it's slowed down. You know, these are all captures that I document. I record them, and I show you guys and gals everything I get. And there's a lot more that NASA's telling us, and scientists are telling us, is out there in space. Recently, they're talking about a whole bunch of objects inside of the solar system. Now, UFOs over my house, literally, even stationary. So I come outside, freehand. You're going to see the edge of the house on the right in a couple of seconds. Those are both UFOs. Those are not stars. There's the house appearing on the right. There's a stationary. Now, this object is literally almost stopped. It is stopped, right? It's not even moving forward. And there's another one approaching from underneath, coming by it to interact with it. I showed you the one flashing with the incredible light. I had one descend close to the house. It's just absolutely incredible, the activity that is here. These days, the past many weeks has been very cloudy, so it's been hard to know if they've been out there or not. So this is one, again, freehand over the house, and it leaves and splits in two. See it one more time. I was fast at the end there, eh? And all that with an infrared camera without even having to leave the house. UFOs splitting in two, able to see it with an infrared camera. The Pentagon right now is playing that game of, the cameras being the problem with their UFO videos. Well, actually, their UFO videos suck. Have you seen any of the Pentagon's UFO videos? And I say the Pentagon, what they're presenting, Navy people, personnel, Luis Elizondo. Right. Spraying on the moon? Well, there's definitely obstruction from seeing the surface with these clouds and hazes, whether it be methane coming out of the craters or volcanic activity, rock decay, whatnot. There's a whole bunch of things that we can come up with a conclusion of. But there's visual proof, ladies and gents, in the atmosphere of the moon, here next to a crater, explosions and even smoke lifting up off the surface. What are they doing up there? All the research that you're seeing here, if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for taking the time to subscribe. These are objects that I see on the moon by slowing down the footage, adjusting the exposure, and trust me, many, many long hours doing so. Are they terraforming or hiding under a thick haze that they create on the moon? You just saw what I showed you. It looked like a biological creature or something just letting off some chemicals. Well, now we can see another object letting off some smoke behind it. Could it be a propulsion system behind this object? Yeah, of course, sure it can be. But it remains the most secretive footage that I know for a fact they don't want me showing this. We can see it in the atmosphere. Is it every day? I don't know, because I have to thoroughly examine the footage. It's not just, oh, look, another one. Oh, look, another one. You got to really look for them. But yeah, oh, look, another one, because I'm seeing them pop up. But they're small. That's why I talked a lot about, I hope you remember the beginning of the video, I talked about size. It's important to understand what size these objects are. That's why people are saying that they don't see anything on the moon. Ever watch the moon and say, hey, it looks like I almost thought I saw a flash over there. Well, you did. But these flashes occur so quickly, the eye doesn't always pick it up. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to watch the channel. Everyone, thanks for the generous contributions, and thanks for watching the videos.
Aliens are up there on the moon. They may be even coming right here soon. Aliens are landing on the moon. Yes, they are up there. Doesn't matter, cause disclosure's coming soon. Disclosure's coming soon.